And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
Welcome to Giant Sports Talk Live back here Wednesday night, the night before the atmospheric river is supposed to hit California. I don't know what it's going to supposed to be like in San Francisco, but they are calling for a whole bunch of rain in the Central Valley. So it should be an interesting next couple of days here.
Yeah, you and down south are going to get pounded. I think we're
I heard
rain, but it's going to be real bad down south from what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They're asking for 1 to 2 inches, I guess, here in the Central Valley. So we'll see how it all pans out. According to the weather, it shows rain all throughout the day. So we'll see how that works out. What's up, Jay? I see you out there. I see a whole bunch of people out there joining tonight. Appreciate you guys coming. And let's get into it again. Today's subject going to be what can be the San Francisco Giants outfield options as far as this offseason is concerned. Lou, before we get into it, a little Giants news. Giants were able to hire a hitting coach today. How about that? Hunter Mintz from formerly the Toronto Blue Jays, who was the assistant hitting coach under, I think, what was his name? Poplick. I can't remember remember his last name. But again, hey, good hire. You're getting a guy who's coming from an organization who really focused on making contact, because when you make contact, amazing things can happen. So I am happy with the decision that they made as far as the hitting coach is concerned. So there you go. The staff is slowly but surely being put together. And we'll see what happens. We could talk a little bit more about that later in the show. I saw Armand talking about a lot of news in the GM meetings. Yeah, I saw that as well. Just a couple of tidbits. Miami is saying they want to spend. The theme seems to be a lot of teams are looking for outfield help. So this kind of either, I don't know if it's going to benefit the Giants or if it's going to be a detriment, but let's get into this a little bit, Lou, as far as outfield help. Would you say, Lou, is the outfield position probably, we'll just say the outfield position, is that the position that is probably in most need as far as position players? I'm not talking about pitching, because I think pitching's number one. But
are we talking about the Giants or just baseball?
The
overall?
The Giants.
I think the Giants need a lot of help. I would love to get an outfielder who can also maybe lead off for us, because we really haven't had a leadoff hitter. I'd love for a guy maybe on his off days could actually be our DH, because we really, since the DH was started in the National League, we really haven't had one. You know, we get these guys that sort of make contact, but a DH to me is the guy that when he comes up can hit the ball every time out of the ballpark. You know, he's an intimidator. We've never had that. I think for the Giants too is, you know, we're happy with what we have, but what we have isn't good enough. You know, when you really look at our outfield, let's just go up by the outfield. You got Ramos to the left. A lot of problems. Okay. He's an above average, but we need a solid player. You know, last year wasn't one of his best years. I admit he hits, but defensively he was atrocious. He always seemed to be in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. He made the wrong decisions. Even balls that, you know, were hit down the line was sort of a mystery to him. So I think he's a mystery in left. Maybe that's just because he wasn't used to it. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. You have Lee in center. I thought he was atrocious. I think we thought he was good because we expected so much, and we're sort of desperate to have anyone. You know, to him, I thought he was average at best, especially with us paying, $20 million a year. And then in right, we started off with somebody who's no longer on the team. Now we got a cheerleader who, hey, anybody can have a good couple weeks, but I don't feel faithful with our outfield. I mean, I think really we need at least two, probably all three positions. I think they're going to stick with Lee. But yeah, I don't want Yaz back. Why would you guys want Yaz back when we wanted to get rid of him? Yaz was like a fifth outfielder. But
the Marlins are looking at him, by the way.
What are we going to do? Get him because he's cheap? Yeah, and that's fine. He was great with KC over there, but, we just need more. I think in our division, sometimes the Giants, what's really sort of upset me is there's been no one that can really make an impact. There's really no one that makes a difference. And we've sort of settled for mediocrity, 500 ball. I expect more being a Giants fan. And, with Buster in charge, he's been talking a good game. Well, I now need to see it. First year, hey, you got the Mulligan. He did whatever he could. He got Devers, which I love.
Yes.
But, you need to win. The outfield is a big key of all baseball teams. Right now, we have an infield, except for a second baseman, but, we strike out too much. So that means if they're going to keep them and they strike out too much, that means the outfield has to step up. We already know Bailey isn't a solid catcher. He's great defensively, but offensively, he's sort of a mystery. So we need someone that can give us a mystery. I mean, look at our DH last year. When he played outfield, if you watch some of him track down the fly balls, it was like a pretzel out there. It was like comical. We just need guys that know how to play the game, that can just do offense and defensively on a scale 1 to 10, about a 6, instead of always getting these guys that are like a 4.5, 4.9, maybe a 5, that just fit in. That's fine, but not for a starter. Maybe for a guy coming off the bench, like a 4th, 5th outfielder we've had starting. We need guys that are going to be starters. And if you look at a lot of our competitions, especially just in the NOS, they all have solid outfielders. You know what I mean? Guys that can come up, get the big hit, guys that know how to do it defensively. And I just want the Giants to get some studs. It's great that we got Devers because he's a stud. When he comes up the bat, you want to watch it. You think if he hits it, the ball is going to go. But all these other guys are not studs, and they're not slap hitters. So they're sort of in-betweeners, Eric, which sort of makes it like, what do we have? Are we going to use the excuse, well, this is what we're doing now, and we'll try to get somebody next offseason? And I think the tough part, especially what we're talking about tonight, is when you really take Tucker out as an outfielder, these free agent outfielders are not that great, but they're better than what we have. So if we get them, then we're better. So I just wanted to bring that up.
You are 100% correct. After Kyle Tucker, as far as free agents, it dips significantly, right? Cody Bellinger maybe.
I don't want someone like Jason Hayward. Jason Hayward was great 10 years ago. I don't want him.
No. We don't need Jason Hayward.
Tommy Pham, he's not a difference maker. Hunter Renfroe, they're not difference makers, and it's like, and I could just see the Giants and Buster saying, well, we couldn't get these guys. So we're going to stick what we have, see how it works for the year. I don't want that. If you have to make a trade and get someone that can make a difference in our lineup, because last year, really, we were like, it seemed like I'd say out of 10 games, if we just got a hit maybe 5 of them, we possibly could have won. And those games would have been the difference of losses and wins. We would have been a playoff team. So, and then just, guys that know how to play defense. I've never seen where we had more guys, where we'd have the shortstop, third baseman, the center fielder, and left field all together, but nobody would call anybody off. And then guess what happened? The ball would land, and then all of a sudden it's mediocrity. So I just want to tell you something. Better.
And this is something that we'll talk about a little bit later, because right now we'll stick on the outfield options. Buster Posey had some interesting things to say, almost very similar to what he said last year, more along the lines of the starting pitching rather than it is with the hitting. But it kind of goes along to your line will the Giants eventually do something significant as far as a position player? Now, what I mean by that, I'm talking about free agent. Yes, they traded for Devers, as you talked about. You did sign Willy Adames. So over the last year, they did stuff, right? And they took on a whole hell of a lot of money. But that being said, the Giants need more. And you just can't sit there and say, let's talk about this. As far as the outfield, are the internal options that the Giants currently have for the outfield, are they the solution to, let's just say right field? For this exercise, Ramos is going to be your starting left fielder and Lee is going to be your starting center fielder. Okay. That is what's going to happen here. What are they going to do in right field? Okay. And to your point about Ramos, yes, his defense. Now, the good thing about his defense, hopefully that could be worked on, because his first year in his first, I guess you want to say, full look in 2024, his defense was okay. It wasn't a train wreck like it was last year in 25. Maybe this year it's going to be better, but his bat is great, right? Come on. The guy batted almost 270, had 20 home runs. So, I mean, he got it done with the bat. So all you got to do is tighten up on the defense. Who knows what may be the reasons of why his defense wasn't as good. But I'm okay with Ramos in left field. I'm okay with Lee for now being in center field. You might eventually have to put him in a corner. I saw that what you're talking about as far as his defense. I get it. Unless you go out there and you sign a center fielder and then you move Lee to right. Maybe that's a point. We'll have to see. But let's just say right field is what we need to do. Are you okay with a combination of a Matos, a Luciano, a McRae, a Gilbert? I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, if you're going to want to go out there and you want to win, you got to get someone that you have confidence in. I'm done with the tryouts. I'm done. Right, Lou? I'm done with the let's see. Let's give this guy a month. Let's
it's gotten old.
I'm done.
It's gotten old.
With that.
Yeah.
And
Eric,
we've been hearing that for the last 3 years, Lou.
Yeah, it's gotten old. You know, it's funny because Susan Slusher has been writing that everyone. Now, again, I don't think she's that great of a writer, but everyone's calling about Matos. Oh my God. It's the most amazing thing. He's like the hottest number out there for free agency. So I wrote her, I said, well, if he's so hot, why isn't he playing for the Giants? Why wasn't he ever called up? I go, you are the worst homer in the world, Susan. I'm going to block you. And I blocked her. You know, I'm just looking right now at our outfielders. Okay. We have Justin Dean that we got from the Dodgers. I didn't even know who Justin Dean was because he never really made an impact. Okay. Encarnacion, you know, the guy played in the Mexican League. He was sort of a train wreck. I thought defensively, I call him Mr. Pretzel. And, you know, we always hoped that he could be like Serrano in Major League, hit 25, 30 homers. But to me, he always seemed like he was injured. I mean, I've never seen more injuries than ever. Okay. Then you got Drew Gilbert. Is Drew Gilbert your guy who's going to play right field for a whole season? Or is he more one of these guys that might play for 4 to 6 weeks, do it, and then he sort of hits his plateau? Then you got Lee. You know, I mean, hey, Lee hit good. I think what happened is when we got him, we expected more. But now we've adjusted saying he's just above average. Okay. Yeah. Then you got Luciano. Fair. You know, you got Luciano, you know, still learning. But you know what? It seems like it's like year 3 of learning with him. All right. Then you got Matos. And then you got Grant McRae, as Dan calls him, Grant McKay. He calls him because he strikes out too much. You know, you can't have a guy in the outfield who will come up with occasionally some big hits, but he strikes out 40% of the time. You know, this isn't the American League. This is the National League where you got to put contact. Then you got Wade Meckler. Okay. I mean, again, these are all like 4th or 5th outfielders, maybe not even on anybody else's team. And then you got Ramos. You know, now Ramos is definitely a player that I enjoy with. Guy can hit. He's a stud. If he can just get his mind right, he'd be good. But, you know, if you really take Ramos out, that all those other guys are all question marks. You know, Lee, okay. You know, I still think he's probably better than right because center field is very difficult. But you got to remember, we're giving him a tough time playing center. Right field at Oracle, if you don't know it, it is probably one of the hardest right fielders ever. You know, we were sort of spoiled with a couple of the guys. So really, guys we have, you know, they don't excite me. They are guys that would be maybe 5th outfielders in other teams. But, you know, we're happy that we can fill them, but we just need more. You know, I want a guy that's solid defensively and a guy that can hit. But more importantly is, you know, defense, Our defense last year at times really let us down. And I'm saying simple stuff. Too many errors. Ball goes to left. We're not even sure who the outfielder who's throwing to. Is he throwing to the shortstop, second? And over a long season, all those add up. So
they do.
It's just one of those things where I just think we need more continuity, more consistent ball playing. And do me a favor, of the guys we have, if you're going to use 3, then just use those 3. Too many times, get this. Oh, we have a right hand. We got to bring up a lefty. We're going against Slave. Got to bring up. Get continuity in our lineup. It's like Lee. I thought should have been leadoff. The guy never batted leadoff. I think he batted like 6 games. He was 3rd, 4th, 7th, 8th. It's so hard for these guys because it's sort of like our bullpen. These guys need to know their roles. It's a lot easier if you're batting 7th than batting 3rd and 4th with all the pressure. It's the same thing if you're the 6th inning guy, the 7th inning compared to the closer. We just need everyone to know their role. And I really think the last couple of years, no one's known their role at all.
Right.
And if someone like Ramos makes a dumb mistake, bench his ass. Don't be in the manager saying, well, we have nobody else. No, that's horrible because that's a reflection of the other 25 guys. The guy made the same mistake twice on ground balls to third. The guy should have been benched, and that's where I thought the players didn't respect Melvin. Now we'll see with the young guy. Who knows? Maybe he's got a real short fuse, and maybe that's something that we need. So
that's a possibility. But to your point, and kind of what I was saying right before, I'm tired of the experiments. I'm tired of just let's see what this guy can do. Just get a guy out there that's going to go out there and play 150 games plus in right field. Right? You got a 4th outfielder on the bench for a reason, right? Come on, let's stop with the games. I'm getting tired. Seriously, over the last few years, Lou, it's every position, whether it's the starting rotation, whether it's second base, whether it's the outfielders, it's all this. Well, let's just see what we have. How many years do we have to see to what we have until we got a team together? And it seems like every year there's more needs.
Yep,
and
more needs.
Look. You're going to have to go out there and you've got to get to a certain extent. There's got to be a year where you just are bold and say, okay, this is the team I'm going to ride with for the next 5+ years, maybe something like that.
And
you're going to try to do this Farhan thing.
Yeah.
Lou, we did this under Farhan. We did this damn rotisserie of players. 3-year contract here, 3-year contract here. And none of them ever lasted for 3 years because they weren't that good. But because the fact is, signing a guy to a 3-year deal isn't the best. The guys you signed to 5 years plus, nowadays, man, we're talking almost 10 years. Those are your better players. And that's what you need to get. And the Giants are not a poor franchise. There's got to be a time. And I'm not saying you have to do that with every position. But you're going to have to put something together here, man. If you want to go out and compete, and Lou, you talked about, right, the Dodgers and the Padres and the Diamondbacks, they all got somewhat of a much better outfielders than what the Giants have. And we're not even talking about the other teams in the National League who are going to be better. The Braves, the Mets, they're going to be better this year. Marlins want to spend money. Whether or not they do or not is going to be a different story. But come on, let's get serious here. Put a team together and let's ride with it. No more experiments. I've heard enough of it.
Eric, the Giants think there's 25 million Robert Rothbergs that assume when it's opening day, he already thinks we're going to go 162. He knows we're going to have the greatest pitching staff. He knows we're going to be the surprise team this year. Robert, I've been hearing the same thing for 7 years. Okay. I don't know if you're drinking too much of that New York tea, but you got to be real. The Giants need probably about 4 or 5 steps to get better. We just need, and Eric, that's the other thing with the Giants. They keep bringing all these guys. If you get continuity, that's when you can fall in love with these guys. That's how it was in the 70s, the 80s, when you had a good player that comes up through the minors that you see struggle and finally made it. That's what it's all about. It's one of those things where we need, last year, when I was on Dan's show, I literally said the Giants had 8 holes. And it seems this year 2 of Buster, we now have like 12 holes. Yeah. We need to get it where there's only like 5 holes, and it's one of those things where, I don't understand why we picked up Justin Dean. Farhan used to pick up all these crumbs, as I called them, and none of them ever worked. I mean, Yaz was an exception, but he was not a great player. I'm sick of that. Get these guys, stop picking up these crumbs from other teams, because obviously these other teams know they're not that good, so they get rid of them. We need guys, and that's how you're going to get a better farm system too. We need guys that are going to develop, get on the team. They're cheaper that way. Then we can spend money on the free agents and just, continuity. That's really all I want.
Yes. Hey, there's our good buddy Ibrahim. Donates $10. Thanks, Ibrahim. Another year where we're going to enter the season with several question marks and be praying for several things to break right. Yeah, exactly. That's a losing recipe. It's hope. It's all about hope. And he talks about vibes and unicorn farts don't plug holes. That's a fact. And that's what I'm tired of. You got other teams out there putting something together. There's no, well, let's see this and let's see that. No, they're putting a damn good team together. And I get it. You want to see what your guys want to do, but my God, sometimes they either need to stay in the minor leagues a little bit longer, or you just need to cut bait.
Yeah, Eric, you brought up on the start of the show, Florida Marlins want to spend money.
That's what they're saying.
They've suffered long enough. If you remember late in the standings, they were only a game behind the Giants.
Yes, they made a run at the end.
They were right there. They had a record. They came into All Ballpark and swept us, or was it 2 out of 3? I can't remember. But
they swept us in
team they were a team that literally was a level below. Now they're going to spend money. So that's just another team that you're going to have to worry about. We keep talking about Atlanta. We keep talking about the Mets. Now you get teams like, the Florida Marlins. I mean, the Giants, now instead of them maybe being the 8th best team, they're probably like the 10th, and that's where, they got to do something.
Yes. And Toby, you're talking about doing something. Thank you, Toby. Look at that. Perfect segue. How about that? What's up, Toby? Hope you're doing well, man, in the Bay Area. Joe Ryan, and see if Buxton is looking to waive his no trade clause if you talk to the Twins. Again, that's some news that was breaking earlier today, Lou, that Byron Buxton may be willing, and again, I don't know if this is a quote from him, that he may waive his no trade because he has a no trade clause with the Minnesota Twins. And people were floating out the ideas, right? Hey, maybe Eldridge could get you a Joe Ryan and a Buxton. Of course, it's going to cost a little bit more to get Buxton as well. But man, why not? You get a pretty decent pitcher in Ryan. Look, is he an ace? I wouldn't say he's an ace, but he's good. And you get Buxton, who's a fantastic fielder and has a hell of a bat. Now, the question is, can he stay healthy? That is an issue with Byron Buxton. But would he be willing? And this is the big but. This is the big but. I'm not trying to be nasty or nothing, but this is there's a big but here. And the reason is because you almost have to treat Byron Buxton as a free agent, because he's got to be willing to waive that free trade. And if he doesn't want to come to San Francisco, well, forget the deal. It ain't happening. The Giants could give the entire 26-man roster, but if he says no, well, it ain't happening. So will he want to come to the Giants? You see what I'm saying? So you're going to really have to convince this guy that, hey, we're winning like this year and next year. I mean, that's what you're going to have to tell him. And not just telling him. And I should say this. You just don't know what other teams are going to want to do, right? And then if he sees the Dodgers, he might want to go to the Dodgers. He may not want to come to the Giants, because you gotta words are, look, I could come on here and say all these freaking words to make it sound like everything's hunky-dory, but truth be told, it could be falling apart. I'm not saying the Giants are falling apart, but you got to back it with action. And that's the thing, is I want action. Words are great. It sounds fantastic. It's a PR masterpiece, but I'm done with the PR masterpieces, and I want to see some damn work being done. So I'm telling you, man, and again, this is an option. This is a guy that you could possibly get. I would be okay trading an Eldridge to get a Buxton in it, right? Would you be okay with a Buxton in the outfield?
Even if I would trade something else, because you guys got to remember, our number 2 starter is going to be a free agent after next year. You got to think in the future. Joe Ryan's probably definitely a great number 3, but he's perfectly a number 2 behind Webb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's a guy that can pitch, get you to the 6th inning. And that's the one thing is, I hope Buster's saying, okay, we have a guy who knows, do we want to sign a pitcher off Tommy John, a lefty, 4 years, 120 million? No. Okay. So why not get somebody, we'll at least have him for 2 more years of control. He's cheap, Ryan. He'll fit right in. And you can, when you do that, then you could always make trades. The thing about the Giants is we're like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And I know as fans, we want everything. It's not our money. Let's spend $500 million, but it's not the money we spend. It's how we spend the money. We gotta be the right way. I'd rather the Giants the whole year get 2 guys, and they're guys that are going to make us better, maybe improve us by 10 wins. I'd rather do that than pick up 5 guys where we're just going to be the same again.
Thank you.
It's just one of those things.
Lou. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you look, Byron Buxton, it could be an option. The guy's a great fielder. When he's on the field, that's the issue, right? You're going to have to evaluate, and maybe he's not the answer. Maybe he's not. You got another guy out there, Harrison Bader. I heard he's a good baseball guy. He's got a decent glove. Again, and then I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about him, but he did have a clutch gene in him. But is he the answer? Is he a quote unquote? He seems to be like the guy who's going to get your 3-year deal if you go for a Harrison Bader, right? That's kind of what it is. And look, if you get Harrison Bader, but you get if you get a top flight starting pitcher, okay, then maybe that makes sense. Maybe that makes sense.
Taking care of 2 birds in 1 stone.
Yeah,
it's like
maybe you can do that.
Tucker's going to be $400 million. Then the thing is, everyone says, all right, let's get Cody. Cody, because who represents him, who he's quarterback, he's probably going to be 5, probably 150, maybe 175 million. Do you want him where you're not even sure how he's going to be every year? It's like, it's tough. And the other thing is, you guys got to remember this year, there's not many great free agents. To me, I'd probably, if I were the Giants, well, Eric, let me ask you this. We're talking about outfielders. Some guys can play outfield, some can play infield. Like for your Christmas list, who would you want the Giants to go after? Who would make you happy? Giants are going to give you 1 present. You can't get Tucker, but we'll get you somebody else.
Can't get Tucker, but you want somebody else as a Christmas gift.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why.
It could be, you talking just outfielders, or are you talking
outfield, or it could be a guy that could play both. It could be a guy that plays outfield, infield, and maybe DH. Like sometimes we have guys that can play, first, second, or something. And then I'll tell you.
Yeah, I see people talking pitchers. I was thinking pitchers as well. Are you talking free agent, or just you talking free agency, or are you talking about it with a trade,
or a guy that we could probably get?
Oh my God, who could we get that? I'm just trying to think. Bregman. I see Val Ramos talking about Bregman. He's a guy that would not be so bad, but I don't think.
But how much do you think he's going to be?
Francisco.
He's probably what, 450?
Man,
it's got to work out.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Lou. Let me hear what you have to say. I'm gonna get your thoughts on what you think.
So one of my guys that I want to get, who's actually a free agent, played second base for the San Diego Padres. He batted either third or he led off Arias for 2 reasons. We keep hearing that Buster wants a guy that can be a contact hitter, right? Okay. Arias could fit in second base. He could lead off, or he could bat second. But he's one of these guys, when he comes up, you got to remember, this guy, I think last year only struck out 49 times. So he makes contact. That's what the Giants need to do, because with our team, if they're going to be like last year where they struck out a lot, you got to get a guy that's going to put the ball in play. Because I don't know how many times. I mean, I kept saying that Giants were the only team that would have runners in second and third and no out and not score. You know what I mean? Where it was like, you guys got 3 hits in an inning, but you couldn't score. It's just unbelievable. So, I'd rather sacrifice a letter. And the reason why I like Arias is this. The guy can make contact. He doesn't strike out. Now, his second base defense isn't bad, but you got to remember, you have Chapman and you have Devers helping him out.
You know
the
what?
thing is, everyone claims about Chapman. So
I just thought of somebody, and I can't believe I've totally forgot about him. Lou,
Christmas present. Let's hear it.
But no, let me talk to you about Arias, and then I'm gonna throw out. I totally forgot about this guy. Anyways, Arias, you could sign him as a DH if you're concerned about
play both. Yeah,
then you just have a DH, and then in an emergency, you can have him at first base or second base, right?
Yeah,
there you go. You could do that. Now, you know who we're totally forgetting? There's someone we're totally forgetting about. Totally forgetting, and it's an in-house guy, sort of, kind of. No, you know who I'm totally forgetting about? Let's see, chat. Who am I forgetting? There's someone that I'm forgetting. Who could it be? Who could it be? It's someone that played with the damn Giants last year. And I don't know what. I was high on him. And it's someone that I want the Giants to sign. That gives away quite a bit, doesn't it? It gives away.
So he started with the Giants.
Dominic Smith.
Oh,
the guy, remember when he was on the team and the Giants were on fire, Dom Smith was in the middle of all of it.
He probably was 75% of getting the big hits.
Yes, he was the clutch hitter. And you know what? To your point, Lou, he could play the outfield and he plays a damn good first base. And I like what the Giants did last year. Dom Smith and Devers out there platooning first base. One would DH, the other one would play first base. You give the guys some rest to get them off their legs, so to speak. Dude, why not? Go. He's already in your organization. He's doing exactly what Buster Posey wants. He wants a guy that makes contact, and the guy made contact constantly. So why not? There you go. Problem solved. Go re-sign Dom Smith. Give him a 2-3 year deal, whatever. Man, he seemed to like it here, right? So and then you still have money that you can spend. Remember how I talked about maybe Ha-Seong Kim? Well, then maybe you pass on Ha-Seong Kim and maybe you just keep a platoon of Schmidt and Koss out there in second base. Maybe you could do that. But I'm just saying, that kind of guy won't cost you the house, but he gives you everything that you need on that team. And I tell you, the Giants it's a good possibility the Giants would have been in the wild card if Dom Smith didn't get hurt, because the guy was awesome. And it's, from all intents and purposes, the guy had a hell of an attitude, a good attitude. He
probably should have won the Willie Mack Award. That's how valuable he was.
Right. That's a good point. If he didn't get hurt, he might have.
Yeah.
But yeah, and supposedly, and Dom Smith was talking about this during the season, he worked on his outfield defense in the offseason last year. So why not? Keep Dom Smith, and then you could go out there and make another big splash. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Why not? Hey, go out there, sign Dom Smith, trade for a starting pitcher, and throw your wad at this guy. There you go. There you go. Why not, man? Hey, I'm going to get as much run off of that as I possibly can, Lou. Hey, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but good God. Why? You know what I'm saying? Go out there. I kind of laid it out there last time, Lou. And again, this was more about starting pitching. But you could go out there and get an outfielder in Tucker. You could. And again, it's all dependent on the player. Does he want to come to San Francisco? Can San Francisco put together a presentation, so to speak, to be able to lure Kyle Tucker? Maybe they can, maybe they can't. Now, of course, a lot of it's going to take the money, of course, but go out there and make, like I said, throw the wad of money out to him, get him, and then trade Eldridge. I know that's kind of whatever. It depends on who you get. You get your starting pitcher. You don't have to spend a lot of money on starting pitching, and then re-sign Dom Smith or something to that effect. Man, but I don't know if the Giants are going to do that, Lou.
And Eric, if the Giants want to do any of these, they got to be first in line, like what they did with Adames. If you remember, they had the meetings. And they did it. I think they got Adames 2 days before the meetings even started.
Yeah, correct.
The winter meeting. That's what they got to do. Too many times they say, oh, let's see what other teams are doing. No. Go in, make your bid, and say, if you leave now, it's off the table. Do you want to play with us? Yes or no? And that's where, you got to have the minds together saying, okay, listen, he wants a 10-year deal. No, we want to do 8, or we want to do 6, but give him more, average per year. Do something. And again, if you can get Tucker, that, as we said the other night, this lineup now becomes deep. When you look at the teams that are better than us, we're like 2, maybe 3 deep. Now we're like 6, because you could put Chapman batting 6th instead of batting 4th, because you could bat Tucker 4th. You have a Dom Smith 5th. You have guys that are going to make them pay if we can get the leadoff runner on. There was just too many times where we had guys on, and Adames and Chapman with 1 out just couldn't get the big hit. Hell, we couldn't even get a fly ball. Yeah, Eric's favorite, deferred payments.
Do it. Why not?
Yeah.
That's how you get and look, you know what may happen? This may happen. This might be the last year that deferred payments is a big thing. The CBA may, I would not be surprised if they don't go for a cap. I could see, okay, well then no deferred payments then, right? You know what I'm saying? If you don't want the Dodgers to do what they did with Shohei Ohtani, then get rid of deferred payments. So you got to pay your guys, so to speak, and it can't be pushed out. So this may be the last year you could take advantage of deferred payments. So go out there and get it done, man. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. Now, again, I got to preface this. The player may not want to come here, and that is a very well a possibility for many different reasons. Maybe it's the ballpark, maybe it's geographical, maybe it's the money, maybe it's all of them included. So you're going to have to figure out what to do here. Look, the Giants got to figure out who the hell the outfield's going to be. As far as right field is concerned, and I think we all agree that it shouldn't be a combination of a Matos McRae, Gilbert, or Luciano. I mean, it just can't be, because you're just doing the same thing over again, expecting different results. What does that mean? Well, it means you're insane. It means you're insane. So let's figure something out, man. Come on, Lou. We're not the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're not the freaking Tampa Bay Rays. We're the San Francisco Giants. Lou, you could speak to this. You've been a season ticket holder for the San Francisco Giants since '58, right? Your family, at least. So yeah. You've seen it, man. You've seen it firsthand on what the Giants can and cannot do. Right? There should be no reason.
Yeah, they definitely have the money. And the one thing, the thing about the Devers trade was so big is we actually finally had somewhat of a superstar. Chapman's not a superstar. Adames not a superstar. Devers is probably our superstar. Yes, correct. We're hoping Eldridge can get to that level. But, if you look at most teams, they usually have 2 or 3. Look at Toronto. Okay. Toronto had probably 2 superstars, and then they had great role players. But unless you don't, if you need at least 2, and then the role players don't, could be solid players, and then you have a winning organization. The problem with the Giants now is we have Devers, who's sort of our star, and then the rest are all scale 1 to 10, like 7s. Then when you look at our pitching staff, we have probably an 8.5 in Webb, and then we have a 7, and then we have a bunch of 5s. It's amazing. Last year we were saying, God, the young guys, they're competing for the 5th spot. Who's going to be our 5th starter? Now we're not even sure our number 3, 4, or 5 are. And that's scary. That means that our young guys that we thought were going to be better aren't. They've had problems, which, that's baseball, And then the other thing about the Giants the last couple of years, besides being average at best, they've been very spoiled where they haven't had that super big injury. Webb has survived. When you really look at it, Chapman, to tell you the truth, probably the most banged up guy was Casey Schmidt. He kept getting hit in the knuckles. He got hit in the hands.
He did. He got hit a lot.
He got hit a lot. But,
who got hit a lot too? Ramos got hit a lot as well.
So I think we got sort of lucky. They got hit when they're batting, but they didn't get hit by a big injury. It's 2 years ago, I think was on the DL for pulled groin like 6 times. It seemed like, it's like, God, can't these doctors do anything? So, we've been very spoiled that way. But, that's the one thing too is, we all rave about Webb, but, he's human. The guy's pitched 200 innings now 3 straight years. He can only go so far. Knock on wood, we don't want anything to happen to him. But you know what? Most likely it's just the percentages.
Correct.
Look at Ray. Ray got injured, went to Tommy John. He came back. Remember, he was like 8-2 to begin the year. And then his last 10 starts, he was probably 2-8. And that's just how baseball is. So, it's just those. And the other thing too is you need a little of everything. The one thing about the Giants is, it's like if you're playing poker, you can't always bluff and go all in. You gotta, it's 162 games. People forget after 6 weeks, everyone was, oh my God, the Giants are back. I think we were like 16 games over. Then when we got close to the Dodgers on that Friday night, my God, we're going to tie for first place. And I remember everyone says it. Dodgers are done. Giants are going to take over. Okay. Oh my God, we got Devers. And then
that was a great game. Wow.
And now everything changes. So
for a while.
Baseball is just one of those things, It's again, every year there's always teams like last year. Hey, the A's didn't have a good record, but that team's exciting. What did they do? They signed what? They signed Severiano. What? They signed him. You know what I mean? That's what we have to do. But I think you bring up a great point. Florida's going to spend money. The Padres situation last year, we sort of were down on them because of the ownership now, right? They're going through a tough time, but they still got great players on that team. Arizona, they got some young studs. They had a lot of injuries. They're going to be there. And then you got the Dodgers. The Dodgers, all the Dodgers care about is let me be first or second in the division. And when the playoffs start, I want to be healthy. Because if you look at them now, they're losing a Hall of Famer in Kershaw. They're probably better without Kershaw. You know what I mean? Their pitching staff.
Yeah, I know.
And they're going to get a closer. It's one of those things. So, what the Giants got to start doing is realize we need to improve the team. How can we be? And we'll do whatever it takes to improve.
Yeah, and you know what? Have they ever taken that? They really kind of
no. A lot of it is being Glenn have talked about safe. It's a safe move. Safe,
right? Correct. And look,
you got to do something a little bit more. It's like dating. You see a beautiful blonde, and the next day you go, God, that girl was hot. Yeah, but you didn't talk to her, so who cares? You got to take chances occasionally. And I think the worst thing is, especially on the chat, and I'm going to bring this up, when Buster got injured, before there was the Buster rule, we traded an ace, right? Who's probably one of the best pitchers in baseball now.
That was
huge on the major league team. Okay. But we got a guy that we thought could make a difference. He got injured.
That was huge.
Still was worth it because it was a guy that had never pitched in the majors. And, we had to go for it. You got to remember, we were the defending World Series champions.
Yes,
and
we
people
were.
forget, before Buster got injured, we had the best record in the National League. So when you lose your all-star, if we didn't do anything, everyone would have been pissed off at the Giants. You didn't do anything. You just lost your best player. So what do? We went for it. It backfired. But you know what? That was 12 years ago. You got to keep doing that. We all bring up the trade deadline. And one of Farhan's biggest things is he would not trade guys that we knew wouldn't come back. If we would have done some of these moves, maybe a couple of these guys we would have got could be major league studs right now. We just don't know because we never took the chance.
Correct. Alex Renteria. What's up, buddy? It's our Dodger fan. Dodgers are owned by a finance organization. When they defer, they invest. Can the Giants do the same? Let's see. Who is the principal owner, Lou? Who is the principal owner?
I think he knows what he's doing.
Greg Johnson.
Yep.
Who is he the executive chairman of the board of? Franklin Templeton. What does Franklin Templeton do? Yeah, they invest.
Mm-hmm.
They invest your money to grow. So yeah, Alex, if you got a better answer for me, then look, and that's the part that's so infuriating. Why not? Hey, why Greg should be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, we're going to be paying you $400 million, but you know what I could do with that $400 million? I can make it grow for you because I am the executive chairman of Franklin Templeton. I think he knows a little bit of something about investing. And yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Does it, Alex? I don't get it. And
it's sort of what ticks me off is the Dodgers were the first to do it. With the Giants' mind, they could have done it. And they all say, oh, Tani was $750 million. Do people realize what he has done for baseball? Are you guys aware how much the Dodgers make? Every single Dodger game is broadcast live in Tokyo. His jerseys are, I think his jerseys just sell.
Number one. Yeah, they're all over
number
the place,
one,
man.
But number one in 2 different countries.
Yeah,
so it's like, it's one of those things where they're not really paying himself. And you got to remember his first year, he made $2.9 million. The Dodgers probably made $150 million off him. And then they take the money, they put it in when they have to pay him. Ohtani's probably costing them $250 million out of the $700 because of all the stuff they get from merch. They're investing deferred. The Giants can do it. They just got to have the kahunas to do it.
That's it. Justin Kett said, let the young starters, Winston Hunt, Birdsong, Roop, and pitch this year by signing Bo. You can't do that. Just in case, I'll tell you something. Yes, would I love to have Bo and Tucker on the team? You can't. You still have to have a starting rotation. And what is Exhibit A? I'll tell you what Exhibit A is. Mark, are you out there? Armand, are you out there? Let me see if they chat real quick. And if you guys know what I mean when I'm shouting out for Mark and Armand, you guys probably know exactly what I'm talking about because there was a team last year who had a hell of a lineup, but they skimped on starting pitching. And what happened to them? Well, guess what? They did not make the playoffs. Thank you, Alex. Yes. They skimped on starting. We're going to go cheap on pitching. And you saw where it got them. It absolutely backfired. You can't. You have.
Did they only have one starter the last month of the season?
Pretty much.
Yeah, and they made no moves at the trade deadline, even though they had the biggest payroll of everyone. Again, it all goes to spending money wisely.
Yep, and that's it. You look. If you want to get good talent, you got to pay for it. If you try to skimp and be safe, well, guess what? It may not work out. Sometimes it could. Sometimes you get that diamond in the rough, but that is the exception, not the rule. That's what I'm trying to say. If you go out there and you get a guy, look, for example, Garrett Cole. Sure, he had Tommy John, but the guy is still an ace. Max Fried had a Tommy. All these guys get Tommy Johns. Look, Paul Skeens, the newest Cy Young Award winner for the National League. He's probably going to have Tommy John down the road. But guess what? He's going to come back and he's still going to be absolutely fantastic. It happens. That's this part of the game.
Yeah,
but
Eric,
you gotta pay for these guys. If you want talent, you got to pay for them.
I think what the Giants got to follow is what Seattle did. Seattle said we're going to get the best starting pitching, and because they went for that, their offense was lacking. They realized it. They had a chance, and what did they do? They picked up 2 studs at the trade deadline.
Yes, they
but
did.
Again, they didn't give up a lot, but those guys had so much that who knows where they're going to sign? They might sign back with them. That's why Seattle was so scary. They had 4, maybe 6 pitchers that were all studs. And then they got guys that have done it before that could hit in the clutch, which made that lineup mediocre, solid. That's why they were a solid team. They were a tough out. People forget Toronto was lucky to beat Seattle. And again, Seattle now knows what it takes. They're going to do whatever it takes to improve their team. That's the one thing we keep forgetting. We all want the Giants to improve. We want them to go after these guys, but there's 25 other teams that also want to improve. Maybe Scheme says, hey, guys, help me out. I just won the Cy Young. You got me for 2 more years. Get me some offense. It's the same thing in Detroit. Hey, Screwball, hey, guys, either trade me now or get me an offense because I'm sick and tired of going out there, as the chat says, oh, like Matt Cain or Webb. Every team has a problem. The Mets bullpen last year was a disaster.
It was,
it was a disaster. So they're going to try to improve. Everyone in the Mets, oh, my God, look, we got the number 1 free agent. They didn't make the playoffs. They're hungry. Philadelphia, I mean, those guys are getting old. What are they going to do? Who knows? Someone like Kyle Tucker that nobody's talking about, maybe he goes to Philly for one last hurrah because then he'll be there for 6 years, and then their 2 studs could go on. They're thinking advance. Atlanta last year, people forget, almost caught the Giants. They were like 30 games back. They had, their MVP didn't come in until 3rd month. They had problems with their pitching staff. So everyone's going to try to improve. So, when Eric brings this up, it's not just us where we go, hey, Kyle, can we sit down, take you out for a week? And there's only us going to offer. There's 20 maybe other teams that want him. And 100%. They're all just like us, deep pockets, and they're going to do whatever it takes. And that's where the Giants and, Buster got to be creative. As Roger Craig, the AKA Hum Baby, instead of making the ballpark the problem, make it an advantage.
Yes.
Tell Cody, this thing, man, I tell you, it's a great ballpark, great defensively. We could use you. That's a plus run. We'll bat you wherever you are. Maybe the Giants this year would do something simple. Hey, during COVID, they closed the gates and they had more homers. Again, just something different. Try to tell them why they should be Giants instead of giving an excuse. Well, the ballpark's a pitcher's ballpark. Forget that shit. Get these guys. Because remember, Candlestick was the worst. It's too cold. People hate it. Well, you know what? Roger Craig said, let's use this advantage. If everyone thinks it's cold, then let's play without shirts. Show people why it's a great ballpark. And the Giants went like 62 and 20 or something. They made it their advantage. That's what we got to do with Oracle Park. Make it our advantage.
That's a fact. And look, you could solve that. If you signed Dom Smith, was Dom Smith a power hitter? No, but you know what? No. He was hitting line drives all over the place. Kyle Tucker, even though he's got pop, he's a good hitter. He's a pretty good, and he'll draw a walk. And guess what? You know what else he could do? He could run like the wind. Something that the Giants have been not doing, right? And he hits in the clutch. So again, he's a guy. Byron Buxton, a great defender. He has some pop in the bat. He also can run. Cody Bellinger, right? He's got pop in the bat now. His home and road splits compared to where he was hitting New York. Now, look, New York for a left-handed hitter, your numbers are going to be way higher than anywhere else, anyways. But again, a guy he's pretty good. He doesn't strike out a lot. And he can run, and he could play some damn defense. He had some pretty nice web gems
great
last year.
Great defensive player. I think his defense is very underrated. He's got a great arm. So,
but the thing is,
and the thing about Bellinger,
do something about this.
Yeah, thing about Bellinger is we all think he's down. He'd be one of our best hitters right away.
He would be 100%.
He'd bat 280. He probably have 80 RBIs, and he'd be batting.
No, that would be the best play. That would be the best
right there.
He'd be the best.
It's just unbelievable. That's how desperate we are. And that's why we got to do these moves.
Yes.
Yes.
No, Val, that's not the point. Dom Smith isn't the quote unquote attraction. He is a solid player, man. Solid.
And he's cheap.
And he's cheap. That's what because you can't sign 9 freaking figure contracts to every player. You got to pick and choose where you want to dump your money, so to speak. So come on. Dom Smith was a damn good player. His defense at first base was spectacular. But with that being said, you got to go out there. You still got to go get a marquee guy. Whether it's the outfield, whether it's second base, they got to get another guy with a bat that's going to help out lengthen this lineup. You have to, and you have to get a starter, and you got to get a closer. Now, I mentioned Devin Williams. I think he could have a resurgence in San Francisco. And I don't think he'd be as much as, say, a Diaz. A Robert Suarez, I don't know, maybe they're about the same, but they're not that expensive. There's ways they could figure this out. You just got to get creative. And other clubs have been able to be creative. The Giants, really not so much. Now, I'll give Buster Posey credit. And look, I'm not saying this based on this is because of Buster Posey. That's not what I'm saying. Because last year, Buster Posey has shown that he could go get deals done. He got the deal done with Willie Adames. He went out there and got a trade for Rafi Devers. Those were huge, man. Huge. So he's got it within himself. Now, the thing he's going to have to do is convince ownership, hey, ownership, even though he's part of it, but you got to go to the principal owner, which is Greg. Look, we brought in 3 million people last year to the ballpark. People are excited. The only thing we have to do now is we got to get that player so we can win. So let's get this done. And look, it's going to cost us a lot up front, but it's going to pay in the long run. That's the part I don't get. They act like they're losing money by signing these big contracts, and they're not.
Giants said what, 3 point, I think it was almost 3-1. If the Giants sign a guy and win, now they're doing 3-4, 3-3. You know what I mean? There's actually, they'll get a couple 100,000 more. It pays for itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does. That's the whole point. You're what attracts people to come watch your product? Winning. Right?
Excitement.
So again, it's real easy. I'll break it down and look. I'm making it simplistic, but does it need to be any more complicated than this? Spend money, you win, you make more money. It's pretty simple. Under Farhan, right? People stopped coming. You're not making as much. I mean, they're probably still making money, but not as much as you would if you were winning. You went out there and you signed all these 3-year contracts thinking that you're putting together some monster team, and you didn't do shit. You wind up trading Soler. Remember during that year, they signed Snell, Chapman, Soler. And where did the hell the Giants go? They were under 500. They were worse than they were this year. Yeah. So go out there and get the best players, man.
And you know, it's funny, Eric, is do you remember the Giants, the excitement when Eldridge was being bought up? I think there was maybe 5 weeks left in the season, maybe. It was like and I tell you the truth, there was more excitement for him coming up than Devers' first appearance because it was so much excitement. Oh my God. Now, again, we talked about this on the hot corner, and I know me and Dan talked a lot. We had so much pressure. We assumed this guy was going to be like half Willie Mays or Orlando Cepeda and something else. He's still young. Doesn't mean maybe in a couple years. But you know what? Right now, we need something that's going to, the cream that's going to rise to the top. You know, we can't have it. Well, we got to give him 3 more years. It's been bad for the Giants. You know, you brought up a great point, $3.5 million. If they were to spend money and get these guys, that ballpark would be rocking. Beside every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it would be rocking every day of the week.
It'd be awesome.
People, and again, a lot of people in the chat who are newer Giants fans and everything, when the ballpark opened up, I think it was 17 years, every single game was sold out. Do you remember they were having that thing like 360 straight games sellout? You know, nowadays, I think maybe last year, I think I heard there was 12 complete sellouts. You know, and you can't really count the Dodgers games because literally it's probably like 55-45 Dodger fans. But that's what they need to do. They need to bring the excitement back. And like, if you remember when the Giants, I'm trying to think, was it 2012 when they bought, beside Panda and everyone wearing the Panda hats, that was when Milky played for us, Cabrera. And remember they had the Milkmen. Milky were in the outfield.
Yeah, and they're doing the crazy dances.
It was great. Yeah, that's sort of what I miss with the Giants. We need that thing. We had the Panda. Everyone had the Panda hats. Nowadays, last year, probably the biggest thing was, and I'm not even sure what the hell that was, the Jung Lee headgear, as I'd call it.
Yeah.
The Jung Lee, where everybody, Jung Hoo Lee.
Every time he came up the bat, man, people got into that. Yeah.
So, they just need more excitement. You want to, hey, the ballpark's a great ballpark, but you got to get a team that makes the ballpark even better. A destination. And that's what the Giants need.
Talking about teams, hey, here at Giant Sports Talk Live, we got a team.
Giant Sports Talk Live, brought to you by Lefties in Burlingame. Visit Lefties for all of your Giants collecting needs. By GenesisGoldIRA.com, signatures for soldiers. Duxwell Printing, for all of your printing needs in the Bay Area. Visit Duxwell Printing at 37 Wentworth Place in San Francisco. And by BetterCreditCards.com, for the best credit card choice for you. Visit BetterCreditCards.com, covering the San Francisco Giants nightly. Online, we are Giant Sports Talk Live. Now, back to Eric and Glenn.
All right, guys, and just so you guys know, Glenn texted me. He just got in today, and he will be joining us Friday for sure, 100%. But hopefully he didn't get affected by all that air traffic controller stuff, because I know they were cutting back a lot of flights. And he had to fly over to the United States, and you have to have ATC to fly over to the United States. So he may have gotten caught up in that. But yeah, he will definitely be back Friday. Friday, you know what I'm thinking? Maybe that will be our prediction episode, Lou. Ooh. So maybe we'll do some homework. Where do we think certain players will go? Armand from New York, I think he'll join us on Friday because he does a lot of work on that. A lot of work. So I'm going to defer to him a lot. Because look, it's a crapshoot, right? It's a total gamble. It's not like it's an exact science. So Friday should be a lot of fun. See, just in case, this is the problem, man. I appreciate your support, though, by the way. And I'm not attacking you. Money saver free agents. See, you see, I called you Glenn. You see, Lou, this is the issue. This is what I don't want. I don't want money saver free agents. You're saying O'Hearn, Austin Hayes, Mullins, Giolito, Cortez, Hauser, Montgomery. Williams is okay, but Rogers, whatever. I want to pay him a lot. Halsey, Lasagna, I think that's what Big Nick calls him, lasagna. That Farhan did that, and it got you nowhere. You're going to have to put together a rotation. And look,
that's like last resort when you need like a fifth starter. You got to get the third and fourth before you worry about the fifth.
Get
those
1
guys
through
aren't
3.
going to be in big demand. Yeah.
1 through 3 have to be your studs. 4 and 5, you can kind of get away with it. You got to have a closer. And of course, you got to have a lineup that is well constructed. And what I mean by well constructed, you got contact hitters, you got your pop hitters, right? You got all your old glory guys. Yeah, they might strike it out, but they're going to hit it for a lot of power. You're going to have all that throughout your lineup, man. But if you put together a good roster along with a good rotation, it's a team. It's a baseball team. You just can't have all boppers a la the Mets and expect to go anywhere. You got to have both good pitching and good hitting. You have to. I think it's not rocket science that I'm talking here, guys.
Yeah. I think this might be Buster's biggest in his, being second year. He has 1 month till the winter meetings.
Yes, he does.
You have the winter meetings starting December 8th. You also have something that we really don't talk about a lot, but the Rule 5 draft, I think, is very important.
Yes.
Where sometimes you can do it. And then, of course, on December 9th, your favorite, the lotto. the baseball draft lottery.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff in this next month that, he's got to come through. And, hopefully, like I said, once December 8th starts, I'm hoping we get somebody early. Get the first thing first.
What's up, Mike?
Get it. So December 8th, people are talking, oh my God, the Giants did this again. Not
100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Don't set the market. Don't play catch up, man. Right? Don't play catch up. Just go out there and take care of freaking business, man. Get it done. Good to see you, Mike. How you been, man? Haven't seen you in a while. How's everything in the Bay Area with you, buddy? But to your point about the Rule 5, maybe go out there and get a bullpen arm. Not a closer, but go get a bullpen arm in the Rule 5 draft. Because then it doesn't cost you as much. I would not use
it. Eric,
have
we told people what the Rule 5 draft is all about? Do you guys understand how this comes about? Have you explained that on your show?
I haven't. Go for it. You want to explain it?
I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to sort of tell you what I think it is. So when you draft somebody, there's so many years in their organization, right? After a certain amount of time, you have to put them on your 25-man roster.
You're 40. I think it's a 40.
Is it 40?
The 40.
If you don't, he then actually becomes sort of a restricted free agent where anybody can go after him. But it's not free. You still got to pay for him. But it's one of those things where, the Giants have lost guys because either they think these, and again, you have agents involved. You have so many people involved because a lot of these guys are high draft choices and either they haven't made it or they've been through injuries and, teams got to move on occasionally, unless you're with the Giants, we stick with them forever. But it's one of those things where there are a lot of great players that might have been drafted in the first round, second round for a reason. And I think one of the things the Giants don't do is they don't go after these guys where they have a very high ceiling. Like Eldridge is someone that we hope has a super high ceiling and he can accomplish it. But in Rule 5, you get a lot of these guys are pitchers, and the one thing Eric keeps bringing is, God, if we can get a pitcher, you could probably get a guy that could be a number 4. And I'd rather get someone like a number 4 or 5 starter there than those free agents that guy showed on that nobody really wants. That's why they're bottom of the barrel, cheap free agents. And that's what the Giants been doing. As we say, the old safe play. Yeah, we could have probably spent 10 more million, but we got this guy and he's just as good. I know, but nobody else wants him either. It's like, the one thing about Lee is we're paying him $19 million. Nobody wanted over $12 million for him. So we went for it. We got to do that more often. And, hopefully and the other thing too is last year when we bought Buster in, we were told Buster would be able to talk to anybody and bring him here. Well, here's your chance. Yeah. Show your magic. Same thing with Chapman. I'm going to bring guys. I'm on the phone. Well, let's see it. That's all we want. Prove us wrong. Prove us fans wrong.
Thank you, Lou. Yes. Go out there and get a damn deal done. But yeah, to your point with the Rule 5, and what happens is you get these Rule 5, and if it doesn't work out, they go back, you send them back to the team that they came from. So it's kind of unique in how you can get, quote unquote, some talent without having to pay a lot. And maybe the Giants should take advantage of it again for the bullpen. We'll see. For the lineup position players, no. I'm done with the gambles. I want sure things, man. Let's get to work here and let's see what Buster Posey is going to be able to do. GM meetings I think they're over now, right? Was today the last day?
One more day? Yeah, I think today's the last day, if I remember right. Or no, tomorrow's the last day, November 13th.
Oh, okay. So tomorrow's the last day.
Yeah.
So again, not a lot of things happen. It's just more dialogue, right?
Yeah. Like you might be talking about probably possible 3 or 4 possible trades, and then you have the whole month to sort of work it out. Because remember, it's not like you just call, hey, Eric, I want to trade Glenn for Dan. Do you want to do it? No, you have agents, money involved. Some of these players have, trade clauses. It's not, people forget the Devers trade didn't happen overnight. It took 3 weeks where nobody knew about it except the 2 teams.
Correct.
Probably a couple of these players. It's secretive because remember, if you hear that Devers or say, oh my God, You telling me Dan's on the market? Other teams hear about it. Now it's not just you two going. You might have 5 teams going against them.
Yes.
And then you have agents saying, hey, the trade's out there, guys. What do you want to give? What can you sign him? Oh, well, I don't want to go to certain teams. Oh, but they're giving you a guaranteed 5-year contract. Okay, well, maybe I'll do that. Hey, there's so much. That's why everything's very hush-hush. When I think, when you hear Susan and Alex is set up, but most teams don't want to know other teams' business. They don't want to know that we're after. I mean, who knows? We could be making a trade with the Dodgers, right? I'm just throwing a thing out. They want to trade catchers. They think Bailey's, someone that can make them better. So, of course, Giants are willing to trade Bailey. Other teams are going to go after him. Oh, wait a minute. So it's just one of those things. This is what these 3 days are. You're sitting with guys saying, hey, would you be interested? No? Okay. Or who would you be interested in? And do you want anyone from my team? And you go back and forth, and then you start talking. And then usually about the week of the winter meetings, it gets serious because they want to make the presentation at the winter meetings. They're the big boys. Look what they got. That's usually why the free agents go usually the first 2 or 3 days of the winter meetings to make a splash, get your fans excited. So,
yep.
One of those
Mr.
things.
Postman, Giants will sign tier 3 or 4 pitchers with no call. How about this, Mr. Postman? You can avoid that. Hey, Mr. Postman, I'm going to ask you a question. How can you avoid getting a pretty decent starting pitcher without having to pay a qualifying offer? It's real easy. I've been talking about it a lot, Mr. Postman. This is an easy test. If you can't get this one, man, I'm holding you back a grade. Come on, man. You better answer correctly. Come on. It's just I'm done with just the mediocrity. Insane. Am I? I know. Am I? No. Am I? Yes. Am I? No. You know that you do have to pay a posting fee for Am I? Insane. You do. So it's not necessarily a qualifying offer, but you got to pay the Japanese club a posting fee. So I don't know. What's up, Daniel? So Mr. Postman. Oh, Lou, I think you're really frozen up, man. There you are. I think you're coming back. Oh, there you are. You're back now. But what can you do? Come on, Mr. Postman. Come on, man. Mike, you're giving it away. No, Mr. Postman. That's not what I'm asking you. Listen to me. How can you get a good starting pitcher without having to pay anything, whether it's a posting fee or a qualifying offer? Come on, Postman. Come on. There's a way the Giants can do that. Whether or not they do it or not, it's a different story. But what can you do? There's a way. That's if you trade for a starting pitcher, that's less money you have to spend. That's more money that could go to a position player. So, and right now, right, the Giants have a huge ace in the hole with Bryce Eldridge. They do. You could absolutely get something good in return if you trade Bryce Eldridge. It's a risk. It's a guy. Look, I don't want to hear people are afraid of risk. If you are a backer of Buster Posey hiring Tony Vitello, then you should be perfectly fine with trading Bryce Eldridge because it's the same type of cojones that you have to be able to get that type of deal done. Right? I mean, come on. We're talking about risk taking here. You went out there and hired a manager who has never done this before, and it's a huge risk. So go out there and take a risk on trading a very good prospect for a bona fide starting pitcher that you need. And if you're afraid to pay, well, that alleviates a payment. Hey, Lou, I think you're lagging out. I'm just gonna have you out there. When I see you come back, I will. I'll throw you in. Your screen went blank. Come on. Come on. Exactly. No rentals. More Catton, 100%. No rentals. No rentals. It's got to be a guy that has some kind of controllability. Period. Let me see what we got here. Would you trade? Not straight up for Ryan. Not straight up for Ryan. It's going to have to, you're going to have to get more. Hey, welcome back, Lou. I think you were just lagging out a little bit there. That's fine. Hey, that happens to me all the damn time. Not for Ryan straight up. You're going to have to get more back. Mike, who would you trade? Well, come on. You got Sandy Alcantara. There's Joe Ryan. Scooble ain't going to happen. Come on. Scooble ain't going nowhere. Skeens.
And
I don't know
Eric,
if
the
you
thing
saw
about
the
Scooble is you can just wait 1 year.
You wait 1 year. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just have to throw money. But you don't have to do that. Who else do you got out there? Skeens, you got Hunter Green. Yeah, your boy Hunter Green. I mean, that could be. And again, are the Reds willing to do that? I don't know. That's a question. Here, hold on, real quick. I want to see when he hits. I
think he's
free agency. If it's kind of close, if he's close to free agency, then you have a better chance. Let me see. Free agent in. Oh, he's got a team option in 29. Free agency in 28, team option in 29. So he's got a lot of controllability. So yeah, that's going to cost that 100% will cost you. And I don't know if that's someone
like Hunter Green, where they know that's their chip. How we have Webb and Eldridge, but they need another stick because remember, they're going to lose their shortstop after next year. So they got to think of the future. I mean, you think Eldridge is good. Imagine him in that sandbox at Red Stadium. You know, once he becomes a major league, I mean, the guy could hit 40 homers there. You know?
Oh my gosh, I know.
So
he could hit more than that. He probably could hit 50.
And you guys don't realize because, you know, he's with the Reds. Hunter Green, if he were to join us, would be our ace. He'd be ahead of Webb. But do you know what that would do to our team too? Webb, when he pitches, wouldn't have to go against the other team's ace. He would go after the number 2 pitcher. And that would make Webb even better. And now you have, you know, 2 studs because you got to remember, we're probably going to lose our number 2 guy after next season. That's why, you know, I keep saying you got to think of the future. You got to think of the future.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah.
Let me do this real quick here.
And I forgot who asked about the Sharks. I think the Sharks are doing a great job because they finally
Chico,
know
what's up, man?
About. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and well, here's another thing too. Look, and this is another thing. Let's talk about the youth, so to speak. The Giant, look, when the Giants won the World Series, you had a Lincecum, a Mad Bum, and a Matt Cain. And then you went out there and you got other pieces as well. But the Giants were able to draft them. The Giants right now, do the Giants have a Lincecum, a Cain, or a Bumgarner in they don't, not right now, not in any time near future. So in the meantime, you're going to have to make do. So you either run with guys who may not be that good and then you lose, or and hope that you hit on the draft, right? Because like the draft is not easy. The draft is you got to know what the hell you're doing in drafting these guys and being able to develop. And look, Brian Sabian had an incredible, was it Dick Tidrow, right? He was like the pitching whisperer, so to speak.
Jim Barr. Him and Jim Barr
was the other one.
Studs. The thing about the Giants is if we were to go back the last 10 years, our number 1 pick and number 2 of the draft, they have not been good. They haven't been good. They're not.
The best one is Eldridge. Best one is Eldridge.
They have not been difference makers.
No.
When you go to the 80s and the 90s, they had guys that were different makers. You know,
yes.
I mean, Timmy Lincecum, different maker. Mad Bum, different maker. You know, we had guys, you know, I mean, look at Will Clark. Look at Buster. We got Buster. We were very lucky to get Buster because of his agent. And the Giants, when they signed him, It was the largest amount of money they ever spent on a major league draft guy because they knew
Correct.
this guy was special. It's one of those things where, and we messed up. That's the one thing about Eldridge. I just have a little hesitance because every single year we always hear about our Giants farm system. Oh, we got this guy. Oh, we got this guy. My God, do you know how many times I've heard we got this guy and I've never even seen him in the majors? It's like, hello.
I know. Yeah.
They never made it.
I know.
And it's the most amazing. Oh, he's got a bad arm. Something happened. Or you look at their stats, they're batting 220 in single A, or double A, they're batting 230. You can't find it. Same thing, guys. You got to remember Birdsong at one time, other teams wanted him, and we said, no, we're going to keep him. And he was in the minors all year. Then they said, oh, God, he was in the minors. He's 8-1. He's got the greatest changeup. He comes up, and he gets blasted. Because the level from AAA to majors
it's huge.
Would
it's
sort
huge.
of be like college to pros, right? You have high school to college, college to pros. It's such a big, you got to remember when you're in the major leagues, you're the top half of 1% of all baseball players. I mean, you got to be great just to get to that level, but to stay there, it's one of those things. And that's the biggest problem the Giants have had. We keep these guys. We're too scared to get prospects, but we don't have any prospects to trade. And if we bring up guys like Eldridge, someone goes, oh, no, you can't get rid of him. Well, what do you mean we can't get rid of him? Every player of the Giants should be able to be traded if we can improve the team. That's
if
what
it helps the team, you got to look at that, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who they're in love with prospects, and I get it. I understand. You want it to come from your own organization. I get the fascination with that. But if you have the opportunity to make your team, because what happens if he comes into big leagues and he winds up not panning out? Well, now you just lost all that value when you could have added bona fide MLB players who will have success.
And the thing about Eldridge, it's still unknown. He only went, I think, 30 at bats. And we brought this up the other night. Say Eldridge comes up and he has a tough first real year, his rookie year. He bats 224, maybe 14 homers, strikes out a lot, knowing the Giants gets injured. Well, this year, he was probably on a scale 1 to 10 on trade rating a 9. Next year, he's probably going to be about a 6.5. It's not too often that you get these opportunities. It's the same thing when the Giants trade for a prospect. Oh, well, he went in the second round. So we're hoping he's actually that player. When the Giants make a trade, they're doing the same thing as people look at Eldridge. And, that's the one thing. It's sometimes, we wait too long. It's like a bad breakup. You always hear both sides and go, guys, why didn't you guys break up 5 years ago? They fall in love. They try to make it work when it's not going to work. So it's just one of those things, if the Giants want to compete, now we're not going to compete with the Dodgers, but if we want to be on the level of these other teams, we have to sometimes make, hard choices.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, just because it might have hurt us 15 years ago, I liked when we got the trade, when we traded the pitcher, because we were trying to get to the World Series. Nowadays, we're too scared to trade guys, and we're 500. It's like, what? Right. Guys, we're 500.
So where are you at in overall, right? And Alex is a good point, right? Rings over prospects. There's the truth. And look, does it mean you always have to trade every single prospect that you always have? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's, right, at this particular time in the Giants timeline, you got so many holes. You talked about it. You got so many holes that you got to fill. One guy could get you a little bit more than what a little bit more in what you need. So why wouldn't you do that? I don't know. Maybe not. Come on, insane. Devers never played first base. He's definitely gonna. I never said that. Posey, no GM experience. Definitely gonna. I never said that. Oh, experience Farhan. Oh, he's the best thing ever. I never said that. What are you talking about, man? Come on, dude. Insane. Come on. You're being sarcastic, right? You're being sarcastic. Yes, Tom Murphy is gone. Hallelujah.
That was a great thing. 2 years. What? I think we signed him for $8.5 million. The guy played maybe 12 games.
Gotcha, insane. I kind of figured that's what it was. Mike, Was I mad when the Dodgers won? What do you think, bro?
And it was tough because Eric's buddy Glenn wanted Toronto.
Now I'm lagging.
Yeah, it happens.
Can you believe? Oh, I would have nailed it if the Blue Jays had won. I said Blue Jays in 7.
You did. I had him in 6. And, we both had chances. And, that's why you guys got to watch the preview shows. We were right on
I know.
it.
That was fantastic. Wasn't
we
it?
Said somebody
hey,
you're not thinking of is going to be MVP. It's too obvious if you think Ohtani. There's always guys that are clutch. Managers, how are they going to use their bullpens? Is Roberts going to make the right move? And expect the unexpected. And I thought that World Series, like I said, once you thought you knew what was going to happen, it was the complete opposite.
Exactly.
And overall, the whole playoffs were spectacular, I thought, for baseball. You had a game that went 15. Awesome. You had Seattle rise to the top. You had Toronto knock out it was just, I thought overall, it was a great, great one. And everybody thought the Dodgers were going to sweep, maybe 1-5. And when Toronto won that first game, it was like, uh-oh.
Yep.
But, playoffs were great. That's why Giant Sports Talk Live, they were nice enough to have me on a couple of shows because the playoffs were magical.
They were.
And,
so
it was
much
amazing.
Fun.
It was baseball at its finest.
So much. Oh, my guy is in here tonight. There we go. Rosemond, what's up, man? That's our good buddy from Stanford. Hey, Rosemond, it's 9:30. You done with your homework, man? Come on. Come on. This is November 12th. I know that you got a lot of work to be doing. Don't be skipping on your work, man. Hey, but I'm glad that you're hanging out here talking some baseball.
Yeah,
all right,
Thanksgiving's 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I know. Dude, what? The year has gone by.
Yep.
That's incredible. All right. Hey, Lou, just bear with me for a minute here.
Yeah.
My guy Nostradamus is in here. You guys know what that means.
I'm looking at his things.
You know what that means. Not gonna hold it against him. All right, here we go. Let's do this here. The errant protostar could shine upon the central seat. If the arc burns intense, as Cyrus proves true and pristine, the wind, who may drift to a line, I know where he's going, where fair and foul convene. Come on. A streak endures in the west that bonds the years. There you go. Come barter yet unseen. Royalty shall raise a throne if eastern fog disperses and the skies grow keen. Oh, what am I doing? I don't want to clap. I got to clap in here already. There we go.
I've never
Way
seen
to go.
that. First time.
Yeah, this guy's awesome. Comes in here all the time and dropping some bromides. That's not really bromide. More like stanzas. Let's say that. Let's say stanzas. It's good stuff, man. I love it. He comes in all the time. Oh, by the way, did you catch the auroras yesterday? Did you see any yesterday in San Francisco, Lou?
No.
I guess they reached all the way down here. I guess it's a whole big magnetic storm going on.
Yeah, the form. I thought it was only in Alaska. I didn't see it in San Francisco, but I heard other places did see it, like above Concord. Something, I know what it is, the color thing, but I never saw it in San Francisco.
Yeah, they said you're going to. But I guess sort of unique. You had to see it with the camera.
See how it works?
It's awesome.
It's amazing. I mean, I've seen it in on movies and everything, like in Alaska, but it was bizarre.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's supposed to be out there again today, but being that we got all this damn weather coming in, we ain't going to see nothing. Yeah. Mike hasn't seen it yet.
Starting to sprinkle.
Guys, should I play the hype video just for one guy? I might as well get mileage out of it, huh?
Yeah, you.
All right, Mike. Mike, you want to see it? All right, man. I'll let you see it. Why not? Why not? Hey, it's our show. We can do what the hell we want to. Here we go.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go, Mike.
I'd say the thing, Eric Tucker, you make a mistake, he makes you pay.
He makes you pay, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't make a mistake to him because he will crush
He doesn't
it.
strike out and foul it away. He makes you pay.
Yeah.
Watch
And
this.
look, and the guy is good defensively and the guy can run. But to your point, is it realistic for the San Francisco Giants?
I think out of 1 to 10, it's about a 3.5.
That's where I'm going. That sounds about right.
There'll be
Yeah.
talk.
About a 3.5. Yeah. There'll be some talk, but nothing really. Right. Because remember, it was the Giants weren't the finalists at who was it for the Shohei? Remember, they were like the first team. Remember, they were all in the mix. Yeah. The Giants, they're in the first round of the cuts. And it's like, oh, man. And that's when they pivoted to Jung-Hoo Lee, remember?
Yeah.
Yep. Giants should trade for Quan from Cleveland.
I like Quan. And you get two birds with one stone. Leadoff and solid defense and left fielder.
Yeah, that is
Problem
true.
So I like him. I think he's a solid player. Would you trade him for Eldridge? You now get a leadoff.
They're gonna have to throw in more. They have to throw in more. And maybe they got, I mean, who would you take? I don't know if Cleveland would want to do that. I don't know. I don't know.
Eric,
realistic?
Hey, Eric, before
Scherzer.
Yeah. Were you surprised that we had identical winners for the manager of the year as last year?
How about that? Yes, I saw that. Pat Murphy.
Yeah.
And who was it?
For Cleveland, the manager of Cleveland.
Yeah. What's up, Skills? Matos and Wisenhunt for Quan? Mad Skills? I say yes in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And Hope Springs makes a good point. Why would you trade Quan? Yeah. Again, if they really value Matos and Wisenhunt, maybe. But I would, as a Giants fan, in a heartbeat.
Remember, Cleveland's trying to improve their team. So for them to get improved teams, especially
and they get a starting pitcher, and you still got
to give something up.
Yeah. No, not after this year, Mike. He's got 2 more years before he can opt out. It's 4 years, and then after the 4th year, he can opt out of the 6-year deal. So after 2027, then Jung-Hoo Lee can opt out if he wants, and he will because Scott Boras is his agent.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. And to be honest with you, and I meant to get into that there with you, Lou. And I think what Susan is probably trying to do I shouldn't say up, trying to talk him up to so the Giants can trade him. I think that may be what exactly is probably trying to go on. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, she was talking like he's a guy on our major league roster that had a great year. Tell you the truth, I don't remember even Matos coming up the last 3 months, 4 months. Yeah. The guy, it's again, that's why Susan isn't that great. Breeders' Cup had a great Friday. Saturday it was all chalk, tried to beat him. And then I bet the Japanese horse to win the Breeders' Cup Classic, got all my money back. So thanks for asking, Mad Skills.
There you go. Nice.
That was the start of the Vegas vacation. 12
days
later,
that was
I'm still there.
Oh my God.
But I had a lot of fun. Saw Arizona beat Florida, saw the Eagles at Sphere, saw the Wizard of Oz at Sphere, saw Blue Oyster Cult in concert front row. So 11 days. I didn't gamble 5 of the days, but the other 7 sort of screwed around and had fun. And, I had to do some work stuff for my boss, but it was good. Some of us were trying to do stuff just in case maybe we need a sponsor for the next year's baseball season. So I'm always out there.
There you go. Nice. That's awesome. I was going to ask you about, was that the first time you went to the Sphere or have you been there before?
I saw Kenny Chesney, the country singer. So it was my second time. But I'd never been in a suite. The suite is great because you're in a suite. But for Kenny Chesney, I got general admission seats, so I was by the stage. But when you do that, you can't really look up and see everything. You're just focusing more on the group.
Right.
So, it really depends, who you are. Now, again, the Sphere is one thing. There's all these residencies, I don't know if you heard the news today, the Backstreet Boys are at Sphere and they're trying to see, because Taylor Swift did a song with them, see if she can come out. And, they wanted, the problem with the Sphere is it's very expensive to run, and that's why they're doing the Wizard of Oz. And, they are right now, no doubt's the next group coming. The Eagles are selling out because they're the Eagles. But, no doubt's only there, I think, 4 to 6 shows. They're right now talking to Queen to see if they'll do a residency. The problem is a lot of these big bands, and it's not that hard of a job. They're doing Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every other week or every week. But, a lot of the great groups that could fill a place like that constantly are all old. The Eagles are old. Don Henley went up, the guy's 73 years old. Like That's he crazy. Said, well, you guys are going to go out and gamble. I'm going to bed. That's what he said. So and it's just hard because, like Backstreet Boys play at the Park MGM. Bruno Mars plays at the Park MGM. And, you got it's 19.8. It's fill up. It's Sphere. These other places are like 7,000. It's a lot easier to fill up 7,000. Just on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's 3 shows fills that up compared to one of the Sphere. It's hard,
right?
And it's different because like what they did for the Eagles is this was going to be their final show, but they made it where they did all the photography. You just don't go up on the stage and perform. At Sphere, it's, you have so many, every song.
There's so much stuff going on.
Yeah, it's so much going on. I would think it's hard to concentrate because it's all behind you and people are freaking out. But like, it was they did a song, Take It to the Limit, and Deacon Fry was singing it. And at the very end, all of a sudden when they were done, they showed Glenn Fry above him. Right now, the place is going crazy because Glenn Fry, of course, had passed away and everything. And if you're performing, you don't know what they're going after. Why are they cheering? We're not playing. So, but it's definitely worth it, but it's not cheap either. So if you're going to go, do it the right way. But I definitely think it should be a bucket list. If you're going to go, if you have a significant other, a date, go to Wizard of Oz with her and then go with the guys to the concert. There you go.
There you go. All right. Hey, that's a nice ending to the show. We'll be back Friday night, guys. And looks like we may do a prediction. So, Lou, you got homework assignments. Let's see where we think that some of these players will, again, the free agent list isn't that big. I tell you what, depending how much time we have, maybe we'll do just free agents. And then another episode, we could do potential trades, or we could do it all in the same time. Who knows? Why not? We have fun talking about it. So, guys, we'll be back Friday night. Glenn will be back. He just got back from Mexico. Literally a couple hours ago.
Is he back in Canada or is he
he's
back
in Canada?
Okay.
Back in Canada.
If you thought traveling was tough here in the States domestically, try flying international. Which place Canada would be. It's got to be.
It
crazy.
ain't fun, man. I've done a few of these international flights, and they are not fun. Coming back home.
Valamoose, I'm glad I could be here. Eric calls me and says, Lou, how's your right arm? I said, it's fine. Glenn out, I'm in. Awesome. Anytime I can help out.
Right on. And we appreciate that, Lou. That's awesome.
No
All right,
problem.
guys, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. And don't forget, a lot of rain tomorrow. So be safe out there.
Be careful on the road. Yeah, be safe. We want you back.
When it starts raining, try to wait that first hour. Get all that oil off the road. The roads won't be as slick, but it's supposed to be a lot of rain. So, again, and of course, a lot of wind too. So just prepare out there. Guys, be safe. Lou, thanks again. And we'll be back Friday night. Woo!
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.